I said to you guys that today we're going to look at doing some modeling, and really the starting point of modeling is getting yourself the right piece of leather. So first of all, your leather's got to be the right leather to model with, and really I brought up some leathers for you to have a look at to see what works best. So that over there, you can see, sorry, you can see it's got quite a bit of pink at the bottom. It's not that thick. This is about 3 mils, and it's quite hard. So it's not going to take water fantastically. You see how the water still runs off. Slowly it's absorbing into it. Not the greatest piece of leather, which is pretty much the same thing over here. This dark piece, you're also going to get it not absorbing. You're looking for a leather that is really, really absorbent. Now this nice thick piece, generally what's great for it is harness, because it's about 4 or 5 mils thick. It's always got a great absorbing quality. You can see how quickly they just went in there, and that works a dream. Avoid getting hard, shiny leather. It's not going to take the water, and you know, if it's obviously it's natural leather, avoid getting leather that's pink. You know, that generally means it's been pretty well cooked, and it's not going to take water. So the year that I've used is a piece of harness. It was white in color. I think that's a bit of it left over there. It's got great absorbing qualities. And what you do is you take your leather. I did this last night. You spray on the front and on the back. Okay. Any case, what you do is you go and spray your leather front and back with quite a healthy dose. You take a plastic packet, you seal it up, put it into your fridge, and let that sit there overnight. This is called casing your leather, and what it's end up going to do is it's taken that piece of harness and it's swollen it up with a whole lot of water, and it's really absorbed through. Now you want your leather to be quite as thick and really swollen with water, so that when you press down in it, it's going to take a proper stamp into the leather. Certainly, the way I start is I always start with the border. Some people end with the border. It depends how you prefer to work with it. So what I generally do, I use my wing dividers, and I go ahead and just run a border all the way around. What we got over there is, you can see that I've scratched a border in and got ourselves a nice edge going with our wing divider. At this point, you'd grab your swivel knife and you follow that edge along there, and you cut into the leather about 2/3 the depth. You guys can come closer.
Questions along the way.
Don't hesitate. There
But the press. It's a camocharosa when you press left.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Okay, and a camochar.
Hello, there's too much noise.
Can you
Okay.
mute
I've
them?
muted.
Them.
Yeah, there. There we go.
Now we
Later.
muted. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
No, no, no.
Yes, we can.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so I've gone and cut that quite deep into the leather. And from here is I take a bevel, that tool over there, and I'll start working my way around the piece of leather and start creating a three-dimensional image. Sorry, guys. I think everything happens until I forget about you. Sorry. Yeah, there we go. There. Yeah. Okay, so how you want to do this, and really I prefer a maul to a hammer, is when you work with a hammer, you've got quite a large movement working with it. Whereas a maul, because it's so short, you've got a very fast, short movement. And what that does, it gives you a more even stamp as opposed to getting these large craters going. All you do, Janina will be there.
Yeah.
Is I run that down the line. You can see I'm going ever so gently. And go over it again. You know, as opposed to hitting it hard and creating these indentations, rather hit it softly and go over it a few times, you will get a better finish. Okay, now to get it really smooth, is all you do is go ahead and rub that down with the bevel. Don't think these tools can only be used with a hammer. You can use a lot of it without a hammer, and there we've got it, a three-dimensional edge starting to build up over there. Now, as you're working with it, obviously it's going to dry up. So you're going to keep on spraying it. And thanks. You're going to keep on spraying it to keep it wet. However, you've got to take this into account. As you spray the leather, it starts swelling up again. So if you've done any fine work, you could end up losing it if you put too much water in it. So it will swell itself away if you keep on putting too much water. So you really only want to keep a fine layer on the top. You don't want this thing soaking. And the sides. Just by the way, the guys that are really good at modeling and stamping generally are quite old because it takes a hell of a lot of practice. But it's really, to me, this is the best part of leatherwork because it's fun. And people think that it's difficult. It's actually not. Takes patience though. Now, modeling is different to stamping in that modeling is a freehand kind of thing, where stamping, there's ready-made stamps that you go ahead and stamp with. Do not think that stamping is easier than modeling or modeling is easier than stamping, because it's not. It depends on your temperament. If you're like myself, the kind of guy is not very neat, modeling kind of lends itself to you. If you are neat, stamping will be up your alley. Stamping takes a lot of accuracy. You've really got to be an accurate kind of person. And today I've got Colin and Johanna, so I'm under big pressure. Because when things go wrong here, Colin and Johanna here.
And they're not shy to point
Yes.
out to the side.
Okay, so we started getting ourselves a border just by using the bevel and drawing the edge, obviously, of the wing divider, and you start beveling around it. Okay, so you're starting a three-dimensional thing. Right, now I have to choose a simple, great for the corner. So what I've got is you just need to go on and print yourself a whatever design you like and go print that out. Then we're going to make it fit a piece of paper. I need to just trim this down. Yet again, you can see how prepared I am. Yeah, paper, eh? Oh. Okay, so I've got that picture that I want to put on, and I'm going to put it into the corner of my piece of leather, and that's what's going to be pressed out. I mean, model. Can you give me some sticky tape? Now, this is quite interesting. If you haven't got a full set with one of these stamps in it, which is just a round ball, you can by all means use an old big pen, a roller ball. Make sure it's got no ink though. If it's got any ink, you are going to bugger it up properly.
This is nearly as old as the end. Got to find the 1 point extra word. You need more around the back.
That's fine. Okay, so I've gone and taped that picture where I want it on the piece of leather. I don't want the whole thing showing. I just want to fill up a corner with the sunflower. Okay, so you can place it as you feel comfortable. I then just take my round point, very small round point, and I'm going to copy the sunflower onto the piece of leather, just going over each and every line. And really, this is not that you need to be an artist or anything. It's a matter of just being able to trace. I think there could be trouble this afternoon here with Grant and Johan together. I think they have a common denominator. And not verbal diarrhea. I think Cosmopolitan Hotel might be busy later. Right. Now you'll be amazed what's going to be left here. Okay, so I've traced pretty much all the way around, just following the lines. And what that has done, it has put, oh, it's not so easy to see, a light impression of the sunflower onto the leather. Can you guys see that? Okay. Just by the way, if I let this dry, it stays forever. That's not coming out. Right. Well, especially when you got this guy out. Now, swivel knife, you can see you direct it by twisting. And obviously put the pressure down with your finger. They say you're only good if you can sign your name with a swivel knife. And I can assure you, I cannot sign my name with a swivel knife. In fact, there's very few people probably that can. Just the same as any other blade. Keep stropping it. Okay. So now I'm just going to go over those lines with the swivel knife and try go about 2/3 deep. Don't try and be too clever. Generally, move the leather around rather than trying to cut at funny angles. And that will make your life a lot easier. Okay, so there are basically, with the swivel knife, gone and cut around the lines that I've drawn. And now what you're going to start doing is creating 3 dimensions of that. Now, most of modeling is you're working with the shades. And obviously, if it's a dark shade area, you'd press in quite deep there. And that's what's going to create your 3-dimensional effect, which at the end of this, hopefully we can finish it today, is you will see that you use aquadye in order to accentuate that. So at this point, I'm going to go around the outside of the flower to start lifting the flower off the page.
Sorry, guys, we'll get the videoing right one day.
Video is an indication of our
Age?
technological know-how.
That's also what happens when your wife's your producer.
It's a proper family show, this. So as you can see, I'm going around the outside, creating and pushing that flower out. Listen, you know, I'll tell you one of the things with all of this, it's really about at the end of it, having places to capture the liquid, the water dye into, to create a bigger contrast. So sometimes you might want, where it should be darker, is instead of using the bevel like I have over here, I'd be using, if I can find it here, a bevel with a crosshatch on it. One of these, a crosshatch like that, because the crosshatch will help it hold more liquid when it comes to dyeing at the end. When you buy a set, you're going to get one standard size bevel. Now, if you're going to do very fine work, you can get many size bevels. So you can get in the nooks and crannies and get that, you know, you can get a lot of detail into it. Getting that pretty done. And we've gone around the whole edge of the sunflower, and that's already starting to bring it out. The seeds of the sunflower we've got to put in. So I've got to find a decent dot. That's a pretty good dot. I've got a few to play with, and we can start working. And so we start building it up layer by layer. Okay. Now we want to create a bit of 3-dimension on the leaves of the sunflower, the petals of the sunflower. And this is where you've got to consider the light source of your picture. If you've got light coming down from here, obviously everything that's behind that will go darker. So you've got to remember where your light source is with shading. I'm going to take my light source coming down across here. Okay, so now I've started creating a 3-dimensional view of the petals. Okay. This is now where it starts becoming quite fun, in that I start using this rounded teardrop shape. And by the way, each one of these has a number. This is a P233. So every single one of the different stamps has a particular number, and I'm sure there's a catalog online that you'll be able to find out exactly what you want. Now, I did mention earlier that not everything has to be done with the hammer. So here I'm going to create 3 dimensions into the leaves just by pushing down with this. Okay, so it's just about building up layer after layer after layer. Okay, now I want to fill up the background of the flower, and I think over here, I'm going to use everybody's favorite, and that is a basket weave. So now, stamping with basket weave takes a hell of a lot of accuracy. So if I go out of the lines, please excuse me, I'm not the most accurate person. So to start your basket weave out, you need to draw a straight line. Sorry, wrong. There we go. I'm going to have it at a slant. It's just a light straight line to work on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp that basket weave on the line. Now, basket weave, you want it to go quite deep. So you really want to use more than a maul and give it a smack. There's the first one. Okay. Now the second one is still on the line, but I put it linking to the previous one. Can you see that? Okay. And that's how we're going to build up the basket weave. There's a third one. Okay. And I'm going to continue like this, not necessarily go up the whole line. Okay. So we've just been asked, how am I going to end it off in the corner? Well, there's two ways of dealing with it. One is you can be as gentle and work with an edge as possible, like that. See? Okay. Which you can get pretty close to the edge with it. Like that. Okay. Or what we can do to make it a lot simpler, and let me find one over here. Okay. And you build up the edge with another pattern, you understand, to kind of camouflage the edges that don't go in. Okay, you can actually get stamps that are specific for the edges, like those. Which ends up giving you a really attractive edge as well. Basket weave, I'm going to show you on another piece of leather, is quite an effective tool. You've seen that just building up bricks. This is one I know. I got it a bit wrong there. I didn't go close enough, but you'll get the idea. So you don't have to just work in squares. You can work in triangles. My triangles should have been a lot steeper to get the desired effect. Let me just try that again.
Yeah. Oh, there, that's exactly what you do.
Now I've gone too steep. And you can work your way building it up like that. You know, you don't have to work in a square. Yeah. I need to get that right. Right. Can we, I don't know if they're going to see that.
Don't know if you can see.
Yeah.
There. Ah. Hang on. They kind of. Yeah, kind of.
Okay, if I come close to you, can you see how they built the basket weave up on that picture? They've gone and used it in triangles, and it's highly effective. I'm back to what I'm working on and patiently continuing to stamp around. In order to hide where it doesn't come to, I'm going to create an edge with that. Now, I'm just doing a very simple link on this, but you can, on the edges, get really creative in what you do. Just going to continue all the way around with that to hide the edge, but
Morning, yes. I just want to find out, do you ever put tape at the back of your leather whilst you stamping to prevent it from stretching too much?
Look, I've never done it. I've certainly read about it. And yes, it probably would be a good idea because, you know, one thing that stamping does do is it stretches out the leather. So yeah, I have heard about it. It would be worth your while. We've actually debated this quite a bit, whether to put sandpaper down to help it, but yeah, to prevent it stretching, certainly tape the back up. The only problem is, how long is the tape going to hold while it's wet? Sorry, I'm going to show you a bag that one of the guys here has done. And you can see how he's gone, used aqua dye as well. Yeah, okay. So the dye has gone in to the indentations and pulled there and gone darker. So what that creates is a bigger contrast between your depth and your high points. This is very, very, very effective. Okay, so this is your Hans bag, and you can see the stamping he's did. How did you dye your? Son? Okay. What is Antica? Yeah. And that makes it look okay.
So you can see the patina to here to there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, it looks beautiful. You can see on Johan's work, where's the aqua dye is pooled in every one of those stamps and made it darker. Johan's also made a hell of a nice bag. He's he looks like his stitching is coming on. He's starting to compete with Colin now. Now this is a great bag. And cleverly, he also put in a pen holder. Okay, so this is a modeled bag that we saw in Germany. Excuse the reflections. And it's exquisite. I'll make it bigger and you can actually see the amount of detail that's gone into this. So, you know, it's unbelievable. It's really special. If we look on the side here, there's another piece over there. It's just, it looks like a piece of carved wood. Where's that other one?
Okay, that's another, just a piece of leather that they carved design into.
But now, if I lift that up, you can see how effective it actually is. All I've got to do is finish off the edge and create it neat. And from there, I've got to wait for it to dry before I go and stain it or dye it. So I will do the dyeing first thing next week and we can take it from there.